Just a quick video today and a little bit of, behind the scenes of my life before we begin. I got to successfully DM a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game on Sunday. This is Tuesday, Wednesday morning when I'm recording this, so, a little under half a week ago. And I'm still riding the high of how fun that was. And I really, really look forward to running another session next week and continuing the adventure. I don't know, it just has me in a good mood, and I thought I'd share it with you guys. How's she going, my son? And welcome to a pretty short little video, because I just wanted to show off a bit of interesting synergy I found today in Warframe. First of all, it's surrounding the Telos Boltace. Now, I am not a fan of Tonfa weapons in this game. They have not impressed me. Let's put it that way. And actually, I can put one more mod in here. I need to form this thing anyway, but because this has a lot of expensive mods in it. Those prime mods take up a lot of slots. But yeah, it surrounds the Telos Boltace. I am not a fan of Tonfa weapons because they just didn't really feel all that good to handle. But unlike the regular Tonfas, admittedly, the attack stances are exactly the same, but unlike the regular Tonfas in the game so far, including the regular Boltace, the spin attack on this weapon is insanely powerful, and it also has a sort of additional slash wave that comes out when you use it, and automatically inflicts slash damage, a slash proc, as well as carrying the elements of the weapons you're using, and specifically with Saryn, it does two extra things. I don't know why you're... Saryn? Are you right there, honey? Alright. Well, anyway. It spreads the spores, because the spores can be spread whenever they are hit by an attack. And the slash wave just hits everything. So it... particularly with Prime Reach, because Prime Reach makes the slash wave actually go longer, which is really nice touch on the developer's part. So the spores will spread faster. You tag one guy, you do one spin, you've infected the whole room and done a bunch of damage in the process. Because every time a spore jumps, it's a damage over time effect, and it does its first tick immediately when it smacks onto a target and grows on them. And it's also doing this like 3 times for each person, and like basically it compound interests fantastically, and I kind of have to show it to you to see what it does. But also, the Toxic Lash ability, the self buff she gives to her weapons that makes them do bonus toxic damage, also is affected, hits the slash wave, and Toxic Lash also causes every possible hit to make the spores spread, so it just makes a great big mess, and I wanted to show it to you. But also, one final thing is that Toxic Lash has an upgrade that isn't used much. Contagion Cloud. Contagion Cloud melee kills create a 2-meter toxic cloud dealing 150 toxin a second for 12 seconds. That isn't too much damage, although now that I stop and think about it, that is like 1,000 some odd damage over the 12 seconds. I mean, admittedly that's kind of slow in Warframe's pace of game, but it's still pretty damn good. And with the Telos Boltace, even the slash wave killing things causes the toxic clouds to go off, so you get a lot more of them than you would with a regular weapon. And the toxic clouds stack on the spores, and hey, it's all kinds of good fun. I'll show it to you. Whole point of the video. Just find somewhere to do a mission. Interception, capture, defense. Yeah, I think doing an infested mission is a good show of this, since they have such great numbers of enemies. Like most things with Saryn, she scales really well the more enemies there are on a mission. She actually kind of suffers against a single target, which is kind of hilarious. And it's always the kind of character I like, because I love that kind of that mass efficiency, but like not at the expense of just being like, I'm just stomping over the whole game and I'm doing so much damage. Like, in typical JRPG, you get like the best spell ever that hits everyone for max damage, and you're just using that for everything. Whereas with Saryn, she doesn't feel like you should be using her to deal with single targets as much. You should be using her to deal with huge crowds of mobs. Admittedly, you're fighting huge crowds of mobs a lot in this game, because that's kind of the formula of the game. Remember, this game was initially designed as a Left 4 Dead in space type of game. As you can see, all those tiny numbers stacking up. And they're also getting, sometimes they get bigger based on the toxic damage dealt by a toxic lash spreading from the spores. So it's all kinds of good stuff. Unfortunately, it's so efficient sometimes in missions where you're not running into endless swarms of dudes that you sometimes cut off your own infection. Because you get the Plague Ink problem, where if you make your virus too lethal too fast, it ends up killing all of its hosts, and then there's still living people left. Not much you can do about that in Warframe, but, you know, you get the same idea. Also, big bonus thing with the Toxic Lash I forgot to mention is that the Toxic Lash also gives you energy every time you pop a spore. Now, I'm running a build that does not have any built-in efficiency whatsoever. It just has the base efficiency because I couldn't fit any in, really. And having the mad energy gain every time I slap my weapons around is pretty good. It keeps me in the green, pretty much, for energy. Or in the white, as the case may be. Color of the meter. I'd love to get some efficiency in here, but the only really good efficiency mod is the Fleeting Expertise, and that lowers duration, and that just means I'd be casting the spells more, so, you know, I don't see a point. Oh, crap. Now. Don't slap away my energy, you bitch. Okay. Okay, we're good. This build almost makes miasma kind of useless, but, like, it's still decent if you just need to blast everything in the room with an emergency panic button. Plus, it still does a ton of damage. It's just you don't really need the button. Yeah, you're big and ugly. I don't really care.
The assassination target is here. Wipe them out.
And dead. But yeah, as you can see, particularly with Maiming Strike, but I think this would work even if you didn't have that. This is an insane little setup, and it makes for some good times with Saryn. Just look at all the toxic clouds. So good. And like, in particular, it's really good on missions where... excuse me. It's particularly good on missions where enemies are coming at you instead of you coming to the enemy. I find a lot of weapons that deal with crowds are like that in general. You know, you can make, like, choke points and such, and, you know, tie up, especially with the infested, but even with the other, with the humanoid enemies, the Corpus, the Grenier, and the Corrupted, you can get a lot of work done that way. With making, like, what do you call it, making choke points, and crowd control abilities kind of bunching mobs together, but when you're on the move, you don't have as much time to set up that kind of stuff. But, I mean, this is still really good just because I'm moving while I'm attacking. I mean, coptering used to be a thing for a reason. I mean, they nerfed it and then they put Parkour 2.0 in instead, but, I mean, every once in a while, if I just do this, I'm slapping the whole room with a slash wave of damage. It's really good.
They won't be bothering us anymore.
Although it tends to
Let's get out of here.
glitch a lot for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. They haven't quite figured out the stances for Tonfas for anything other than when they're actively in use, I guess. Anyway, this has just been a short little, you know, look at the cool synergy I found video. So thank you all so much for watching. Twitter, Tumblr, and subscription are in the description as usual.
Inbox, operator.
I have pissed off the stalker, but that's fine. He's always angry at something. Ugh. I always hate running into him, though, and then, like, not being able to kill him, because then and then he kills me, because then I'm just like, well, fuck, there goes a chance of rolling a good weapon off of him. Although there's only one thing I need from him, but he is still stubbornly refusing to drop it. And I can't trade for it, so, you know. It's always a lost opportunity whenever that happens. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Twitter, Tumblr, subscription, like I said before, is in the description below. When you're subscribing, please click the bell, as it will, that should be near the subscribe button, as it will give you a more direct... It will give you a more persistent... better way to put it. it tells YouTube that, hey, I like this guy and I want to see his content. Because otherwise they just assume, oh, you've subscribed to someone, that's great, but, you know, here's more Markiplier, here's more PewDiePie, here's more other popular channels. You know, here's more Game Grumps, you know, the stuff that gives them more money, obviously. You know, but also the Twitter is the ultimate way to keep up with my content, and just anything I'm thinking about, and I put into 125 or 150 words. As the Twitter automatically posts whenever I do a video. So that's all well and good. Tumblr is optional. I've kind of been ignoring it a bit lately. I might post thoughts here and there. But, you know, there's some good older thoughts on there that are still interesting if you're into Undertale headcanons or anything like that. You know, I'm still there. They're still there to be archived and read. But anyway, just a short little synergy video. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you all so much for watching, and ciao for now.
Do you remember the old war, operator? Order seems to have misplaced those memories.
I would like to, know when and if he'll ever find those memories. I am curious. Since, I mean, apparently he was someone who was at the old war, like a big defining event in the timeline of Warframe. And yet we know so little about it, other than everything went completely to shit. So, yeah, it would be interesting to get a first-person perspective on it, but, oh well. Anyway, ciao for now.